everybody. I'm tuning the Corvette today. Get rid of that. Let's put the right thing on the screen and not this shit. Not my ugly ass face. There we go. Hey. It shrink me way down the corner here. Like that. Since you guys get the really bad angle. Did that work? Oh, it's behind. There we go. Fix that. It's that top-notch fucking production quality I got going on here. There we go. Maybe. Alrighty. There we go. It's better. It's because I have it paused. That's why I can't see it. This is my pull. I just did a pull in the dyno on this thing. I've done 2 pulls. I got the tack calibrated correctly on the dyno. Whoops. So I got to do another one here. And I realized, why did I start this without talking to you guys first? I wanted to show you guys what was going on. So timing might be a smidge aggressive. It did pull half a degree right there. Air fuel was super rich on the first pull. So let's see what this one does with everything set correctly. Whew. That's loud in the ear, let me tell you. That is some volume. Okay, let's see what we got. Alright, so she pulled about a degree right here, which is expected. It's rich, or it's a little lean right there, and the timing's pretty aggressive. 24 degrees at 2700. That's too much for this. So I got to find that spot. The problem is that I had the math a little off originally, so I had to adjust the math. But when you adjust the math, it also adjusts the cylinder air mass. And so since the math was too high before, I had to drop it down. That lowered the cylinder air mass, which therefore added timing. So I didn't pull enough timing off the map to compensate for that. So thus I had that spot there. It's got a few degrees too many right there. Right at the beginning of the pull. Yeah, and there's also a time delay for power enrichment. So the time delay is a little long, and that looks like power enrichment didn't happen until right here-ish. So I could shorten that delay a smidge too, so that we can get the fuel it needs right away. Air-fuel ratio is 11:8, almost flat, so it's rich still. The torque curve is very flat. And I need to pull some fuel, especially over 3,700. And then it's a smidge late to get fuel, and it has too much. So that's what I got to do. That's what I got to fix. And the timing. So 11.8. Let's see what my enrichment is set at right now. Fuel, we go to power enrichment. This is what it does when you get full throttle, then it triggers over into that. It's based off throttle position. In this case, you see I only got to be at 19%, but I have to have reached 85% on maximum torque. My map has got to be a minimum value and all that. And my ramp end is set at factory. It's a little slow. I could bump this up a little bit and it'll ramp a little quicker. And that's all fine and dandy, but let's see what we got here. So we've got, so right at 35-ish, it richens up. Sure enough, I see that right here. It richens up at 35-ish. And this is in, this it's basically an enrichment multiplier. So I want 4.7, oopsie. 12.6. So this is set to be 12.6, but I'm not getting 12.6. I'm getting 11.8. So that means that really what it is that my MAF calibration is still high right there. So if I get 12.6, that's 857 lambda, but I have 11.8 out of it. That's 802, so 5%. So I can pull 5% out of my MAF calibration, which is fine because I added a bunch to it earlier because he had an intake on here that totally fucked up the fueling at idle. So I just added a bunch to it real quick to get it to idle because it was 30% off at idle. Now you see here it's still 10% off at idle, and my idle frequency is. Wait, where'd it go? Oh, that's weird. It changed my freaking values on me. Oh, I opened the other scanner. That's why. Okay, I have two scanner programs, the beta and the regular, and the beta had all my stuff on it that I like, and I didn't realize I had opened the wrong one. So close this guy. Open my other scanner. This one. Connect that. There we go. So here's all my idle stuff. Here's my frequency, 31 hertz, 3100 hertz, 10% low. So I can go here and look, 3100 hertz, where I was targeting. Earlier I had it at 86. Now it's 85. So clearly I need to bump it up again, which I knew, but I got to bring down the top end. So I'm going to take the whole thing down, 5%, right? That's what I said I had to do. And then I'm going to add whatever I need to make this say 86. So that's 9. That 9 is a minimal addition to the top end because you can see how high the values are. So up here where the top end is 9 out of 3,149 is jack shit. So that'll get my MAF a lot closer. So my air fuel should get closer to my power enrichment targets. But I do got to adjust that spark because it is still a little too much ignition advance. And let's check my cylinder air mass on that log. Oh, I don't have that log anymore. So I close it. That's fine. I'm still going to lower it down on this map because it was clearly too high. And then I will adjust it based on the next log. Now, we're not in boost. This thing's not getting up here on this air mass. It's definitely down here around the 0.7 air mass is where it's going to be. Down here-ish is where we're going to be hitting that highlighted. Oh, you can't see that. Let me fix that for you. My bad. Get that for you. It did pop up. Right there. There we go. So that's that area of the fuel map there that I was trying to adjust. And then here's the mass airflow calibration that I was adjusting. I was at 3100. I wanted around 86, but I needed the top end to come down. So I took the whole thing, took off a value, a percentage, and then just bumped it up where I needed it to be for this low end. And I like doing it this way because, like I said, I can make big changes on the bottom end without affecting the top end like at all. And as you saw by idle was 10% or 5%. What was it? Idle was 10% and power was 5%, but opposite directions. So I need to bring the whole thing down and then bump it up a smidge to get the low end done. And so that technique works really good because then you still maintain a nice curve on the mass airflow curve calibration instead of getting these chunks added to it and throwing off your curve. Now, sometimes you need to have your curve thrown off, but I don't think you do here. That's all the exhaust. That's where I turned the fans on. I know I did. Man, it's not pulling very well. Okay, so I disconnect my scanner, and I got to flash this change. Less timing, fixed fuel. I'll flash that change, and that was 350 wheels, so that was a bump up. Cleaning it out helps. Now, something to remember is that the air fuel in the tailpipe is really an average between all the cylinders. So if I'm 11.8 at a tailpipe, that means a handful of cylinders are richer than that, and a handful of cylinders are leaner than that. So those richer ones are ones that are producing less power at the wheels or at the engine, anywhere, right? Less power, period. That's really hurt the performance. That's why when I lean this out, it's going to pick up power. Okay, started okay. Didn't have any weird dips or anything. I like that. Let's take a look at the log, see how close we are to the still a little rich. Oh wait, I was lean before. Yeah, so now I'm a smidge rich, but I'm still on post start. So some of that should correct itself, and that should eventually go towards adding a smidge of fuel. And it is on one bank so far. So we're getting closer there. That's good. Scan is not up again. Stupid software. There we go. There we go. So still needs a smidge of fuel down here. 7%, 8%. Oh, it's really lean right there. It doesn't like that spot. Oh wait, now it's switched there. Huh. Okay. Fuck you, Corvette. All right, let's do a pull. All right, leaned out to about 12.5, which is really close to that 12.6 target I was telling you about. So that worked out, and it picked up 6-wheel. So it's 356 now, 355.5. So 5-wheel. I think it's a 5. I can't tell. It's blurry. It's in light color. Let's see. 350.5 to 355. Yeah, so exactly 5. All right. Curve looks the same, considering I pulled timing out of it. That's good news. I pulled a degree and a half out. It's still knocked right here in that same zone. It's weird the torque is low too. Right before it knocks, the torque is already low. Like it wants more timing anyways, but it's not getting it. But it also is still a little lean right there. It's not getting quite the fuel that it probably wants. RPM's at 3,000. Yeah, that's right where it's just starting to add fuel for power enrichment. I think I'm gonna start the pulls at a lower RPM. Let's see what happens. Half a degree there. That's way less than before. So I'll take a half a degree. That's an improvement. Air fuels are spot on though during the pull. That looks really nice. I could technically take a smidge more off of it, but you never know. See what it wants. It might want less. But the curve looks nice. Looks like I would expect from an LS NA. Just want to work on that enrichment ramp in. Huh. According to this, power was still climbing when I stopped the pull. And I stopped the pull when 65 on the engine, but the dyno says 61. So it looks like the tack cal is still off a smidge. It's interesting. The tires could be spinning a smidge. That's possible. That can happen, or they grow during the pull. In this case, they'd be shrinking, so it might need some air pressure. They could be shrinking with the load, and that would give me a slower final speed and a slower indicated RPM or engine RPM. But man, it is still climbing to redline too when I stop. And the customer told me to stop at 65. I don't know why. I don't know what his fear was as to why he wanted me to stop at 65. But it wants to go higher. This cam is made for higher RPM than that. This cam is a Texas Speed cam. It says RV4 is the last couple digits of the part number. I hope they're not selling this as an RV cam, because this is not a fucking RV cam. It is 629 lift intake, 615 lift exhaust, 231 at 50 intake, 234 at 50 exhaust, 111 lobe separation angle with the intake center line at 109. The closing point for the intake is 44 degrees after bottom dead center. Not as late as a lot of cams that I've run before. So this thing probably has really good cranking compression because of that closing angle, but also it's moving air well. I say well, that's probably not true. These things usually make 345 wheel horsepower stock, and this thing's gonna make it 355 right now. When I did heads cam and intake on my C5, I put down 4.5, So there is something holding this car back. I don't know what it is yet. Well, I'll lean it out some more, but it's not going to pick up 90 fucking wheel with a little less fuel. So something on this car is just not quite right. So I did, oh, I think he has stock heads. So I did ported heads, cam headers on mine, exactly the same car, 2002 Z06, and I got to 440. When it was bone stock, it made 345. So that's a difference. That is a sizable difference between what this thing did and what mine did. I think it's just not a good cam, honestly. I'm not a fan of text-to-speed cam profiles, and I think this was not a good cam. Mine had a lot more separation angle, and I had similar duration, but my center lines were definitely different too. Now, maybe he installed this cam retarded. Maybe they put an adjustable chain on it and put it in a retarded position, and that's why it's not coming in until so late. That's possible too, which is a bad idea because it would be out of intake and all that stuff by the time the cam came on. And judging by the way this power is still increasing rapidly, the red line looks like we're cutting off 2,000 RPM of what this engine should be running. So it could be this. It could be the way they installed the cam. I have no idea. Hey Mark, how you doing? Yeah, I have no idea if they installed it at the correct location or not. That information was not provided to me. All right, so I'm going to work on the ramping rate. I'm going to pull a tiny bit more fuel out of it, work on the ramping rate, and see if that stops that knock. But I mean, I do have a lot of timing right here. There's a little bit of timing right there. Where's my cylinder air mass on that log AD? I'm going to double check that real quick. When that occurs, I'm at 7.3. Like I said, we're in that 7 range. And we get to 7.8 peak, 7.9 peak. Yes, okay. So 7.9 peak, 7.3 is when it happens at 3,000 RPM. So we'll go to 7.3, that's this line right here. 3,000 RPM is 21 degrees. This said what? Oh, okay, yeah, 20 degrees. I pulled half. Okay. I'll pull another half degree out right there. I'm fine with that. Doesn't hurt my feelings any. Pull a degree out, a full degree. Smooth that in a smidge. Smooth this guy in. Now the timing, 55, it's 21. Power's still increasing to 62, still 21.5. So the same timing through there. Yeah, so I don't think it wants more timing up top. I think it wants a little bit less fuel. So I'm going to go to the fuel power enrichment, go to my EQ ratio. I've got it set to add a lot of fuel here. I'm going to pull some of it out. It's 161. I'm going to pull just 2% out. So I'm going to pull out of this section. That did not work. Yeah, I was like, that's not going to be right. That was the wrong thing. I need to go like this. Oops. God damn it. double check that real quick. And that went a little bit. Okay, I'll pull a T out of the math again. Okay. Okay. Change my ramp in rates to 1.5. Save that. I want to richen up quicker than it is doing. And I'm going to start my pull earlier to lower RPM as well after I flash this change. We'll see what we get out of it. This is the stock ECU in an O2, which I think is a P01. Pretty sure it's a P01. Yeah, P01. So P01 Chevy ECU. These are made by Delphi. They're Delphi ECUs. They're really interesting, honestly. It's crazy how much stuff they have in them. I wish they were programmed a little better, but they do a lot of shit, and it's really impressive how much they fucking do. Why you start doing that? Like, I didn't change anything that would affect it. Let's see who does it again. I just had to learn or what. That's annoying. I didn't change anything that should make it start to stumble on restart. But here we are. Oh, interesting. My frequency at idle went up from 31 to 32. It's interesting. Okay, idle trims look pretty decent right now. We'll drive it a smidge, see what happens. I'll try traction control this time because I always have to do that. Feels good. It says low power. I wish I had better power. This spot right here at this 16 gram per second mark is a little finicky. I don't like how finicky it is. The ones in the Gen 4 of those stuff are nuts. I am late, just finished some road tests for the Economobile. Or Ecomobile. So, is that the single cylinder thing you just drove? The bicycle tire thing? Or is that what you're calling your Subaru? There they doing? Yep. Yep. On the dyno right now. Oh yeah, it'd be great. I could use it. I'm broke. All right, sounds good, man. See ya. I like when people say they want to pay me. I'm good for that. All right, let's do this. That was way less power. That was a concerning amount less power. Wait, what? What the fuck? Something's weird. I gotta figure out what's going on here. Yeah, way less power through the whole mid range. Looks like it pulled much timing out on me. Oh yeah, yeah, real mad. Right at the tip and at the beginning of the pull, it pulled 2 degrees of timing, and the torque was way low. So that tells me that I am really, for 2 degrees change of power. I mean, it pulled 25 foot-pounds of torque off of it down low. So that 2 degrees was 25 pounds of torque. That's a big difference. Up top, though, power was almost the same, which makes sense because that's where the timing is normalized by then. That's really interesting. So just at the onset, it got mad at the onset, pulled a bunch of timing, and wow, what effect that had on the power output. And I took a long time to richen up too. Well, that's interesting. I changed the enrichment threshold to be faster, and it took longer. That's not how that's supposed to work. Huh. All right, well, I got to do some troubleshooting on that. My guess is that it's a matter of the torque now, so that pulled so much out of the math cal. Maybe it's reading a low torque. This minimum torque here isn't being exceeded enough to kick it in. But this ramp adder, I added 50%. It should have ramped in a lot faster, but this got gradual. It stayed lean for a long time. Didn't even get full fuel until 4,500. So it looks like I need to add a smidge of tip into it. That might help keep it from knocking as soon as I tip in. But then I got to figure out why that ramp adder's not doing its job. Because it finally got to this programmed value by the end of the poll. I mean, I could look. It actually might be at that value too. There, 20. No, definitely not. No, no. But I do need to raise this up to add in more enrichment through this region. So by 3,000, which is right here, at this range, starts to drop a little bit, and then it stabilizes, or then it says like a gradual still, and then it flattens out at 45. So something's going on there. The power's still low as shit though. Like it's like 90 horsepower, sort of where it should be. Granted, it seems like the timing had a big effect for 2 degrees to have 25 plus foot-pounds, or maybe almost 50 foot-pounds. That's a big change for 2 degrees to have. I might be in a position where this thing needs to have like 4 more degrees, but the octane is too low or the engine noise is too high, and it's going to pull it on me. We're not going to get that power. But that's where experimentation comes in when you're doing all this stuff, trying to figure out what she's going to want. Here. To bring that up. And that's irritating to add that much enrichment rate and have it go slower. That's a bummer. I have the log showing for you guys, so then yep, I sure do. This may take air temp. Why isn't it on here? What happened to it? I see it's pulling timing on the top for intake air temp. So up top, it's pulling 2 degrees on the top end because the air temp is high. You see here 118 on this dial here, so that's pretty hot. That's hotter than it would be on the road because right now it's just not moving enough air. Oh, and my fan moved. I have 2 fans up front, one on the bottom of the radiator, another one. So I bet if I move that fan and fix that one, I could probably drop the air temp through the pole. And we saw 2 degrees killed at 50 foot-pounds, so if I could keep 2 degrees on it at red line, I might get 375 out of it. Command is 12.76. Did not get that on the top end. Command is 12.53. I did get that. That's pretty close to what I hit. So I'm happy about that. Just need to figure out some other shit. Okay. My lunch is here. I need to eat my lunch. So HPTuners Dyno, yeah, right. I think it's loud. My ear was ringing from a pole earlier. Like, so I need to eat my lunch. And I'm gonna come back to this. I don't know if there's anything you want to see. I'm just gonna keep the same thing over again. I'm gonna keep adjusting the MAF a smidge, adjust the enrichment and the ramp rate to get it to behave how I want in this section. And then I'm gonna hit a few spots on the MAF curve in those low load regions because I see spots that are a little funky, and see if I can bump that up a smidge. And then I'm gonna fuck with the timing and see if I can get it to keep timing in it on the top end. If I get better airflow to the air filter, and see what it can do that way, and see if I can figure out why it's making so little power. It's really a bummer. I wish that it would do more like my car did. My car was awesome. All right, I ate my lunch. It's getting warm. I got sushi, so you know, getting warm's a joke. Anyways, guys, thanks for stopping by. Sorry it was only a few minutes long. You get to see a little bit of the HPTuners software, see what I'm doing. I made a bunch of changes earlier. I should have done when I should have recorded that, and I didn't. But I did a bunch of changes with idle control. Had to add IAC steps. Had to adjust throttle cracker and throttle follower. Had to change the RPM. Had to do base idle airflow. Had to work on that. Change some fan stuff and some other shit. So there was a lot done there. Spark curves. You can see all these ones that were changed. A lot of stuff was done to it. And I probably should have recorded it, but I was out in the parking lot and was dealing with a bunch of shit all at once, so I didn't do it. For that, I apologize. But some other time in the future, I will definitely spend more time on the Chevy platform and show you guys some more stuff. And I still need to get my cameras outside the car set back up again. But I've just been having computer issues left and right. it's been a rough one. It's been a rough one. I'm trying to get back in the groove and get everything going again. So, anyways, thanks guys for stopping by. It's great to see you. I'm gonna keep trying to do stuff every day if I can, and I can use the opportunity hopefully to do more lessons and all that kind of stuff. So,